Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back. So today I'm going to do my full coverage foundation routine. I usually do this on a night where I'm going out or I want my makeup to last a little longer. And it's pretty simple to me, but it's been working out for me for this past I think 6 months, because I've been trying different stuff out and to see just what works for me and how long it lasts for me. So I have an oily skin type and my foundation does not last longer than 4 hours. I don't care what you say. Oily skin, it does need touch-ups and it doesn't last. It doesn't stay matte as long as people think. Yeah, I tried all these powders. I tried the Laura Mercier powder. I tried Double Wear, and it's still it still will get oily within 4 hours. So I would need to touch it up and stuff. So but yeah, I think it's a pretty simple routine. And let me first say that you cannot, I have oily skin and I have enlarged pores and clogged pores sometimes. And I normally just wash my face, tone it, and moisturize it. I keep it just simple. And I do exfoliate with that little brush, that little circle brush. So that's pretty much all I do. And I'm going to say your foundation is not going to look right if your skin doesn't look right. Your foundation is not going to cover up dry patches. It's not going to help you. So you got to kind of take care of your skin and pretty much exfoliate. I think is more important, because when you put foundation on dry skin, it does not look right. I'd rather put foundation on oily skin. At least it'll look more of a dewy look. But when you put it on dry skin, you're going to see all the little flakes flaking up and stuff, and that's not cute. So just wash your face, exfoliate, moisturize, and I think you should be okay as for a beginner kind of skincare. So but yeah, I already moisturized my face, so I'm gonna prime it. With priming, I don't believe in primers, because I feel like if you wash, moisturize your face, it should be okay if you have normal to dry skin, and exfoliate if you have dry skin. But if you have oily skin, I feel like the more products you put on your face, the more slippery it's going to be. And so I only like using the Becca Ever Matte Poreless Primer. And that's this one. It has a weird texture. You actually have to press it in. And I just take a little pea size and press it in. I don't feel like this primer fills in pores, but I do feel like it makes me more matte. If you rub it in, the primer will kind of ball up on your skin for some reason. I don't know why. So I noticed patting it in is a little bit better. I normally just let that sit, and then I go on to the eyebrows. So I'm going to do that real quick and then come back. Okay, so now that my foundation now that my primer has sat on my skin for a little bit, I'm going in with foundation. And the foundation I'm going to be using is the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear. And that's this one. So this foundation, I'm just going to dot it all over my skin first, just to get it going. And then I'm going in with a brush. So I've been liking this foundation because I like the way it fades. It doesn't leave me, when it starts getting oily and stuff, usually foundations break up on me. It will start separating. And I feel like this foundation does not do that on me. It'll get oily, but it'll still look cute, pretty, a pretty glow. A little bit oily, but I can still, I'll still deal with that as long as the foundation still looks good and smooth. But I kind of tap it and spread it out with the brush, and then I go in with my damp sponge and then blend it out again. I feel like this takes out like that excess feeling like a foundation, so it doesn't feel like it's too much on your skin. And I usually just do one coat of foundation. I'm not really like, even if I have a pimple like this one right here, I'm not really big on like touching it up. I mean, well, covering it up too much. I just don't like that heavy feeling on my skin, because you know, sometimes with oily skin, after a while it does feel like you have like a lot of foundation on. Like I could feel like I have nothing on right now, but like once my oils start kicking in, it just feels like just like an oily mess sometimes. Okay, so for the concealer, I'm going to use the same L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear Concealer, and that's this one. This concealer is so good. It dries a little fast, so you have to be quick, but I love this concealer. It kind of reminds me of like the ColourPop one, so like a little bit goes a long way. All the noise that you hear is my son walking around upstairs. So like I usually do it in sections. If you know your product will dry fast, do it in sections. That way you're not spending so much time blending it out. Then I'm going to take that onto my lids because I'm doing my eyeshadow after. And this, I don't really have dark circles, so I couldn't really test it out to see if it would color really, I mean, if it will cover really dark circles, but I think it's still a pretty good coverage. And since a little bit goes a long way, you could always build it up just a little bit, because you don't want a lot of foundation, I mean a lot of product underneath your under eye, because you don't want to cake it up. Okay, once that is blended out, I like taking a cream contour, and I feel like ever since I've been doing this, my contour doesn't separate as much. It lasts a little bit longer. When it's like oily and stuff, I can still see like the definition, and I feel like it does work, but I don't have time for this all the time, so I only do it when I'm going out. I'm using the Wet n Wild Stick Foundation in Walnut, and that's this one. The reason why I like using this stick, because you won't put too much product on at like all at once at the same time, so you just want to like tap the top, and then I usually tap it onto my hand to blend it out. That way you're not just going in with like a straight line and then you're gonna be there blending it out forever. Alright, so once I tap out the foundation and blend it out onto my hand, then I go in with the brush and start tapping it. And I like doing this now because I feel like it doesn't leave the sharp line, so it kind of blends it out at the same time. So see, you don't see, like, well, on camera it looks like a really sharp line, but I promise it's not really as harsh as you think or as it looks. And this like goes like the same thing with the concealer, a little bit goes a long way. Then if you feel like you either put too much or it's too harsh, you can always take the sponge and just blend it out. That gives you like a little bit more help. And since the sponge already has like foundation and stuff on it, it kind of like makes it even easier to blend. And keep in mind, sometimes like I notice, since I have oily skin, my foundation oxidizes. That means like it gets a little darker. So after a while, like the more oily I get, for some reason, like I start looking darker in my face. So that's why I don't really like contour this, my jawbone. Like I'll put a little bit of bronzer on there, but that's it. I don't really contour down there, because I kind of want it to like look a little bit more even as the day goes on. Then I'm taking like a smaller blending brush. I don't really contour my nose, but I just do like whatever, just to give it a little bit more definition since I have a big nose. Okay, so now to set everything, I usually, I don't really like bake it anymore, only on my forehead and like my smile lines and my chin. I don't look cakey under here, but it does, like you can still see that I have makeup on, and I don't like that look. So I'm just gonna like lightly bake with the brush. So you want to blend out all the creases. And for my powders, I use 4 powders, not all at once, it depends. So I'll use at night, I will use the Maybelline Fit Me powder and the Laura Mercier powder, because it doesn't really give me any flashback. But during the day, if I want like a all matte look during the day, I will use the Kodi Airspun powder. This smells like an old lady, but it really does. I feel like this is the only thing that really works for me when it comes to like keeping my oils at bay. But the problem is at night, sometimes you gotta be careful because it does leave you a little bit white. Another one I use is the Wet n Wild translucent powder. I'm actually gonna use that now to like slightly bake. This is not even like white neither, it's like off-white. It kind of reminds me of the Laura Mercier powder. And it hasn't given me flashback, not that I know. I don't really like taking pictures with flash, and when I do, it's pretty much like far away anyway. So I don't really know how that is like for in front of like flash. So I'm gonna blend that out. Take I like a fluffy pointed kind of brush, and just tap that in. Then I just lightly dust the rest of my skin. Alright, so now that I have everything set, I'm going to start to contour and bronze my skin. So for bronzing and contouring, I actually like using the Milani Silky Matte Bronzer in number 2 because it has more of a cooler undertone, so it kind of works as a contour. So I just take a little tiny bit, and that's this. I'm going to show you the difference between like the warmer one and the cooler one. See how this one's a little tiny bit more warm? This one kind of looks a little, it has like a little hint of gray. So you still want to be careful with like the grayer undertone bronzers. I'm just going to put a little bit. And then once I have that on, I take the e.l.f. bronzer in Forever Sunkissed. This has been my favorite bronzer for a little while now. It's like your perfect bronzer color. It's not too orange. It's not too red. It's like the perfect color. And I don't really do like a harsh contour. I feel like that's just too extra. I mean, sometimes if I mess up, I would like bake under here so like a little bit more straight. But I just feel like if I already have like a lot of pretty like strong features, so I feel like too much of that would just make me look like a man. I don't know, something. I don't really like it. So I'm gonna take that same powder, the Maybelline, the Milani one, for my nose just a little bit. And I'm just using like a fluffy brush because the fluffy brush, it's like it doesn't make it as harsh as the like a more denser brush. And this one kind of blends it out a little bit more better. And then just taking a fluffy brush and just going over everything just to make sure. And for blush, I'm going to be using, I usually go for more like peachy, like natural tone blushes. So my go-to blush right now has been the MAC Naturally Flawless. See how it has like more of like a peachy natural look? So I just give like a little smirk and I'll start like right here and then blend it back. With a light hand, I don't like, no, just like a light hand. See, so it gives me like some color but not too much, because I'm not really a blush fan. And for for highlighter, I'm going to be using the e.l.f. highlighter in Moonlight Pearls. And it's like your goldy champagne. And I'm going to wet my brush for this because that highlighter is not as pigmented, but it's still like a pretty highlighter. And I'm just going to do my Cupid's bow. I do a little bit of my nose, but again, since I have oily skin, I watch it with that because after a while it does get even more shinier. And then I just take the angle brush and just blend everything out again. Alright, so I'm going to finish my face off camera and then I'll be back. Okay, so I'm back and I did my eyes and my lips. So this is it for like the foundation routine. I thought it was like a pretty easy, simple, full coverage kind of look. So I guess if you guys have any questions or comments about like any foundations, or if you guys have any tips on like oily foundation, because you know I still don't know everything and I feel like I still need to work on like what really works good on oily skin, like what really lasts long, like really long. Just leave them down below. So but yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video and I see you on the next one.